Hello there! It's me, Gazbot. It is the preamble to my second round of 100 Days of Making Comics. This was supposed to be the start of my 100 days, but as you'll see, it kind of fell apart, and I will instead be starting anew after this video. So this is the 0 day, the preamble day, the restart day, the farting around, kicking myself in the butt day, but not the beginning of 100 Days of Making Comics.
What is going on here? Look at this fool posing around like some kind of zombie giant kaiju. Well, that's what I was sort of doing. I wanted to get some poses down for my character, the horror A4, who's a giant kaiju that lumbers around somewhat zombie-ish. And I thought a good way to do it would be to film myself at a low angle. Well, originally I was going to take pictures, but then I thought, well, I'll film myself at a low angle, move around, and then I could pull still shots and use those as a reference, which I did a bit. And part of the reason I did this specifically was because I wanted to do an exercise that I'd seen Mike Emmerich do when he was working on character design for Space Cat. Now, I already have my character designed, but I wanted to get kind of the vernacular of his movement and his iconic posing down and just sort of the character of the movement. So not so much the visual, details, but the poses. And so I did this for a while, feeling like a fool, looking like a tool, making myself drool. No, that's a bad rap. But but anyway, so I did this for a while. And in a minute, what you're going to see is my version of what Mike had done, where I did about 16 different pulls from these poses, some modified, some out of my head, but it was definitely, this helped me whether or not I literally copied one of these or not. But I did 16 sort of rough silhouettes, and then the ones I liked best of those I developed further. So here you can see the 16. Some are silhouettes. Then I redeveloped about 8 of them, and then I took about 6 of those, brought them to like sort of a semi-finished drawing. These are all small. And then I took 3 of those and finished them completely, and I realized I had inadvertently made almost like a sequential animation, not animation, but art, where he sort of hunched over, then he starts picking his head up, and then he's standing up straight looking at something menacingly. So I was pretty happy with that, and it helped me think about the movement as well as the posing. And the reason I was doing part of this was because I'm creating this, which is the stand-up that'll be 7-ish feet tall, which was a Kickstarter reward, and I need to create the art for it and get it printed as soon as I can. And that's what I was working on that whole thing for.
It's extremely hot. I think it's 94. But there's also no shade. It's just like desert here. I'm about halfway between LA and LA and Santa Clara, which is where I live, but I'm going to LA for the wedding. Have not worked on the horror. Considering if today is my day 1 of 100 days, I thought about doing something last night after midnight, but that seemed like cheating. That's sort of the thing I would do, to kind of catch up if I fumbled or stumbled or had some sort of ball dropping experience. Oh man, it's so hot I can barely think. But I decided, well, if this is gonna work, then after I get back I can do a little bit of work in the hotel room or something like that. This round I want to do more than just half-hour a day, but these first couple days, because I'm out of town, I can't really sit in front of the computer. I don't have a ton of art supplies with me. There's only so much I could do. So if I get my half-hour in each day, it's starting the ball rolling, it's getting things moving, and then I will hopefully pick up the pace later. The reason I'm here, our air conditioner stopped working a couple hours into the trip, and it's super hot. And on top of that, we have a fit which is just like glass everywhere, so the sun is just baking on us. So we pulled over a rest area, and there's a repair shop, and they're gonna fill up the Freon on the air conditioner in about 20 minutes, and we're on a time schedule, but 20 minutes immediately sounds good. Hopefully that'll fix it. If it doesn't, it's a bigger problem that we couldn't deal with right now anyway, but hopefully that'll make it nice and cold for the rest of the trip, because we're literally sweating in the car. We opened the windows to try that, and it was just like hot air, just like being in an oven. So anyway, while that's happening, I'm walking over here to get some ice cream or something. I'm not a big ice cream guy, but on a hot day like this, yeah, I'll have some ice cream. I didn't know they have Twix McFlurry. The day is looking up! Walking down the hall of the Hollywood Hotel. Welcome. It's me, Gazbot. It's day 1. I'm in a shower. I have my shirt on. I also have underwear. I'm in a hotel room. Q is in the other room watching TV, getting ready for bed, possibly asleep. I drove all day today, and, well, we drove all day today, I should say. We had trouble with the air conditioner, I had to pull over, get that fixed, blah, 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 blah. Day 1 of 100 Days Making Comics. No excuses. Got here, we left at 11:30 in the morning, got here like 7 something, went to a rehearsal dinner for a friend's wedding, got back here after eating and doing a bunch of other stuff, got back here, I don't know, 11:30, 12, whatever. I just spent about 45 minutes working on issue 2 of The Heart, my independent kaiju comic, mainly doing thumbnails. I put the script on my phone, I emailed it to myself, so I was mainly doing thumbnails, and I'll talk more about it later, but I just wanted to get this in. You're not going to see it till later, but I will throw up the 3 thumbnails that I did right here. There they are. And I have a lot more to say about the process of. I'm in a shower, guys. I'm gonna cut it short. This is gonna be day 1. These first few days are gonna be a little because I'm forcing it. I'm forcing it because I'm a professional and I'm and I'm hardcore. Yeah. So I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end it. But I'll be back for day 2.
This is the view from my hotel window here in Hollywood.
Day Tuesday. Welcome to Tuesday. It is Tuesday. It is day 2. Wait, it's not Tuesday. It is Tuesday. It is Saturday. And I have not done any work yet. We got up, we got some breakfast. We're gonna go to Hollywood Boulevard and kill a little time before we have to go to the wedding. Hi, I'm gonna get it close, guys. How you doing? And there are 2 comic stores in the area that are notable, Meltdown and Golden Apple, I think, which I'm going to try to hit one or both before the end of the trip, thereby being hardcore. And that's that. So yesterday was an exhausting day. Today is fine, and I'm gonna try to get some more thumbnails done later, but I might be too tired to do a thing. A thing. Yeah, I guess I am still a little tired. We'll talk more soon. It's a thumbnail board. I've created it for you.
Spiritual practice is the best evidence.
I'm going to say parking sign.
Meditation, stillness. I have known so.
The Bumblebee? Or sort of Bumblebee?
The gold.
Yeah, I think he was a modified movie Bumblebee.
Okay, there's parking. Turn right again.
Oh, this is the Chinese theater.
You better love yourself before you love somebody. Love somebody, love somebody. Can I get an amen?
Oh yeah, right here on the right.
Can I get an amen? You can.
Oh my god, Chewbacca's gotta be the hottest of all the hot.
Somebody else, can I get an amen?
Hollywood Boulevard was a bit of a bust, but inside this shop called Sweet, they had a lot of really cool stuff. This was like jelly beans or something. They had a lot of celebrities made of different candies. They had M&M made of M&Ms. They had other art stuff, this sort of Japanese clip art painted on stuff with Astro Boy, but it also had, Pacific Rim. They had a pop-up shop for RuPaul, the drag queen of fame, and so they had a bunch of the original outfits and a shade tree and stuff like that. We bought a candy bar that was ridiculously overpriced but delicious. They had a Stan Lee area that had Stanley Cologne, Stanley Boxing Gym. There must have been some kind of event or pop-up shop nearby. This was a really deluxe gumball machine that was hooked up to a Lamborghini that somehow shot it through the Lamborghini and the ceiling and everything, but unfortunately it was out of service. They also had an Elvira pop-up shop, which was cool. We mainly went there for RuPaul because Q's a fan of RuPaul, but this was fun for me and her as well.
In the Elvira pop-up, there are toilets. These ones actually say turd, but apparently you fill them with candy. Because Elvira is the classiest broad there is. Elvira candy! Urinal? Farts. Alright, I think I'm full. Yeah, do I say?
So you can see they had another candy portrait of Elvira in her shop, and then they had this other portrait which looked more like comic book style art. I thought it looked kind of cool. This was just a weird thing that wasn't part of Elvira. It was just in the store. And they had some cool, I don't even know if it was graffiti or commissioned art, but under this underpass they had a bunch of it and I liked it.
We were about to go out and Q was doing some stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna get 7 minutes in. Well, actually I said I'm gonna get my 30 minutes in and I set a timer. So I'm gonna try now. We're back from going out to get breakfast and we went to a local, there's a pop-up shop for RuPaul's Drag Race. We were also right on Hollywood Boulevard, which is where they have the Walk of Fame and the stars and the people dressed up. It was extremely underwhelming. It's only about 80, but it felt like it was 100 with all those people and it felt like an unfun Comic-Con. There were people stopping, taking pictures of stars, and not stars, but stars on the ground. Like, oh, look, it's Michael Jackson. Click, you know, fair enough, except that it made foot traffic crazy. And it's very short, and it, you know, there's homeless people around, and it's not glamorous at all, and it's smaller than I thought it was, and the people dressed up as various characters, with a few exceptions, were not great. You see better stuff at conventions, cosplayers. It was, you know, people with like store-bought Spider-Man costumes that weren't even necessarily in great shape or doing poses or anything, and it's like, I see better Spider-Mans than you once a month, you know, like, it's weird. But anyway, I am now going to try to I don't know. I'm going to try to do a little bit of work in between getting ready and going out for the wedding. So we'll see what happens. Shark! This is a weird day. I just did another 6.5 minutes on thumbnails. I'm really breaking this 30 minutes up into tiny bite-sized chunks, which is not ideal, and I feel I'm losing progress, but that's all I can do. And I'm heading out. 1 a.m. I just got back from being at the wedding. Got to do 7-8 more minutes. Why? Because hardcore? Alright, it's 80 minutes. Actually, I did a little bit more than I needed to, so I did over the 30 minutes today, broken up into bite-sized bonkers. And I got more of these Best Western Plus thumbnails done. And you can see what I'm doing this time that I didn't do as well last time is I'm laying them out, even in the thumbnail stage, as the book will be laid out, so that the pages that are facing each other, which doesn't matter too terribly much at this point, but will later to a much greater degree. So anyway, that's that. It's Saturday, July 3rd.
Met up with some friends in Pasadena, went to an awesome flea market. I actually had that Mickey Mouse car as a kid. This was an awesome one of Japanese stuff, all overpriced. This was some kind of cronut with ice cream inside. It was delicious. Then we went to Meltdown Comics, where I was able to get some issues of the Horror A4 put in there. Look at this cool Ultraman statue. This was a cool store. Meltdown Comics is kind of famous, infamous, whatever. Well, infamous implies bad. But it had a lot of cool stuff, had toys, had statues. They record Nerdist podcasts there. So it was much cooler inside than outside. Like the neighborhood did, like I thought it'd be a gigantic building, but it was nice. They were friendly. They took my book. I recommend stopping by if you're in the area. This is actually LA, not Pasadena. And you know, you can see it's a pretty big store. They've got new toys, old toys. It sounds like a commercial, but it was a cool store that I would go to even if they didn't pick up my book. Now here's my book that they immediately put on the indie rack, and you can see when I put it on Instagram, I cropped it and blurred it so that the horror is like the angel of the middle.
Because it's a day, it's a weekend. Well, I guess it's a Monday. It's a week. It's a day. It's a day. So you can have a fun day. I basically wanted to get the 100 days going immediately, and I was pumping it out, doing hardcore style, and I failed yesterday. It was Sunday. We were out all day. We had dinner, and then we drove back up from Los Angeles, Pasadena area, and got back home around 2 o'clock in the morning. Fed the cats, unpacked a little bit. At like 3 in the morning, I'm like, okay, maybe I could quick do something in bed with my phone and some thumbnails for a half hour. Nope, fell asleep. So none of the days I've done count. 100 days not started. Rather than say, well, I did 2 days and I skipped a day and now I'm on day 3 or 4, any of that garbage. No, we're doing it for real. I don't count any of that stuff. So this is all now just a preamble. I'm gonna cobble this together as sort of a day 0 preamble, like getting ready to do the 100 days, which I was gonna do today, but I think I'm gonna wait and do tomorrow. Whatever. We'll see. But what's going on today is I need to go out and pick up some food, but also deliver an invoice for a shirt design I did to a local shop, so I'm just going to hand it to them and get paid immediately. I also sold a comic through Etsy today, which was great, so thank you for that purchase. I also put up some more eBay auctions, and one sold immediately, so that's great. So goodbye Back to the Future 2 hat. And yeah, things have been going good. I got it in, when I was down in LA, I got it in 2 new comic shops. I went to 3. One was like, nope, we're not interested. One was like, the person who buys it isn't here. Somebody else is like, what's it about? And like, it's kind of like Godzilla. They're like, we'll take 5 on consignment. And that was Meltdown, which is cool because Meltdown is sort of a famous comic store. Nerdist does podcasts out of there and things like that. I just took a shower, so my hair's all fluffy duff. And the other one I got it in is a small store. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name. Collector. I'll insert it later. Insert name later. But the owner wasn't there. The other guy was there, and he was like, I don't really have the authority, and blah, blah, blah. So I talked to him for a while, and he was a nice guy. And it was just like, no, he can't take them. I'm not even on consignment. He just doesn't have that authority. And I'm like, okay, well, how about this? I don't live around here. You know, I'm not going to be coming back anytime soon. Could I leave one, show it to the owner? If you like it, you buy that one. I'll send you some more, work something out, but at least this way you have it in your hand. And he's like, okay, yeah. So I give it to him, and he's looking at it, and he's like, oh, this is cool, blah, blah, blah. He's like, what is it? And I'm like, oh, it's like a kaiju comic. Like, he's like, oh, I love Godzilla type stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, you know, hopefully he'll like it too. And, you know, and then over the course of the conversation, he's like, I could probably sell some of these by hand, which I didn't ask him to explain, but I take to mean rather than putting them on a shelf, he would just like recommend them to customers. And he's like, we got a bunch of people that like Godzilla, and I went into my thing again, yeah, oh, anybody that likes Godzilla would probably like this, to a lesser extent Power Rangers, blah, 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 blah. Ninja Turtles, there's an aesthetic of that to it, like the old Ninja Turtles, like, oh, we got guys that buy Ninja Turtles, girls that buy Ninja Turtles. So once again, the business side of it, it was not about my art or my ego, but just like, hey, here is some things you could sell. And he took 5. He bought 5 from me. And not consignment, but outright. He did me a favor. He went from saying I can't take them to saying, well, I'm not supposed to take them, but I don't think my boss will mind because I'm absolutely sure I could sell these to certain people and I won't take up shelf space and blah, 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 blah. And you know, I really appreciate that. It was it was better, you know, it's always good to get in a store, but this was like extra good treatment. This was exactly, you know, a local business, an independent comic store supporting an independent artist and what they're trying to do. And it was great. I came away feeling really good and supported, and I you know, which again makes me feel bad. I can't remember the name of the store, but again, I will put it in. I'll put it again right here. And they're in Pasadena. They have 2 locations, but it's in Pasadena. So if you're in that area, check them out. And that's true of all the stores that I have my, you know, comic in. Whether it was an amazing deal, a great deal, whether they were enthusiastic or reluctant, they're all in some way, shape, or form supporting me, and by extension, local artists, local comics, independent comics, that sort of thing. So I could have counted that as my work yesterday, but I'm not, because that's not work on issue 2. So that doesn't count. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go out and do some stuff, and then we'll follow up again later.
Just got done watching fireworks and having a Slurpee. Now the ride home, there are so many people launching fireworks from their house, like in their front lawn on the street illegally. And I remember this a bit when I was a kid, but it was more firecrackers, Roman candles, things like that. And it died off as time went on and police cracked down. But since moving to this area, it's very prevalent. It starts before the show, it starts days before the show, lasts hours after, and they're big. They're like quarter stick of dynamites. They're like, you know, legit pro level ones. Like I could see one over there from here. It's just crazy to me. There were some in the street that, you know, like we're almost hitting people. It's nuts. Also, I was going through my folders to kind of clear out some old stuff and get ready to start working on the official 100 Days #2 and getting templates and things like that. And I found I had a folder that just wrote leftover show on, which I guess was some random videos after the horror production update reports for issue 1 and just a couple random videos. So I'll throw up a few of those clips here that you might find entertaining. You might not. This whole episode, this whole non-show episode is a mishmash of crazy. So soak it in! Or don't. Here's another random etiquette thing that is subjective, but I will cite it as law. I was just at Chipotle and I want to get a soda and get my napkins to get out of there, and there's a couple, and the man is standing kind of in front of the napkins and the tops of the soda cups, and the woman is standing in front of the soda machine with her thing, and like she's not even using it, but she's waiting for him, so she's blocking it, and then she finally moves, and then he moves, and I go to get a napkin, and basically the two of them were monopolizing the entire station, even though, you know, different people could use different areas. See that all the time. It's a little annoying, but they were also taking forever. People are slow. I am constantly annoyed at how slow people are. And this was no exception, where I'm like, what, they're talking, is this the right top? I don't know. Have you ever been out to eat before? You pick up a top, you try it, doesn't work, you pick up another one. Usually you get eyeball it, and if you can't, take 2 seconds. You don't discuss it. Anyway, this sounds like it's gonna be a negative rant. Well, and I guess it is a negative rant, but when I'm in this situation, the thing that makes it awesome, the thing that for me turns it from being annoyed to coming out like, yeah, is they're taking forever. And then finally, as I'm able to step up,
and they're putting their last little things in their bag. I fill up my soda, put my top on, grab a straw, grab my napkins, grab a fork, throw it in my bag, and walk away before they do. So they were there for like however long before me, and the second there's a crack in their armor that I could get in, it's sort of, I'm almost like, in your face. You see how quickly you can do this? Zoom, I'm out of here. As slow as you are, I defeated you in like seconds. This is what you should be doing, or at least feel bad for not being. I'm so petty. But it is true that if I could suddenly get done in like 30 seconds when they've been there for 4 minutes, it makes me feel great, and all my anger disappears. So if you're gonna be slow, be so slow that I can defeat you amazingly, in which case you've made my day. I imagine this is gonna go on some sort of slush pile, extra, old reel, last time on for the new series, because I keep making little videos, even though I'm not making a series just out of habit. But I'm doing a show tomorrow, well, a show, it's an anniversary party at my local comic shop, and they have asked me to come do some sketches. And I went and got some Bristol board from Michael's. A lot of times they'll have 2 for 1 or buy one get one 50% off. They didn't have that sale going. But what I've discovered is every time I go to Michael's now, assuming that's your shop, although if it's not, I'd say look at other shops, I check my smartphone, or if you don't have a smartphone, check before you leave. They almost always have coupons. And even if they don't have your specific thing, they'll be like a 40% off one item or 30% off your entire order. And sure enough, I found a 40% off, so I got one of my sketch pads for 40% off. And it's one of those stores where everything is always on sale, which means it's a little bit, hey look, I have a mustache. It's a little bit overpriced if you don't take advantage of the sales. So if you're buying something from Michael's, check the sales. Not just like the sales that have to be posted, but online, like I said. I'm also cutting these in half because I'm doing head sketches, so instead of 9x12, it's going to be whatever. Anyway, yeah. You gonna go in? No? What? What's the matter? What? You gonna go in the shower? Good.
Look at this, a kaiju art that J. Allen Rat sold me, sent to me. It was free. It was a gift. Yay! This was me practicing inks as well as a traditionally attractive female Asian Psylocke and color Copics. It was like a bunch of different stuff I was trying that I don't normally do. This is Earthling issue 2. I did the coloring, not the cover, but you can see the interior pages.
New black marker. It ended up being this Venom headshot, which I didn't finish, but I finished at home. Threw it up on Instagram and a few other places, like, hey, for sale, 20 bucks, headshot, you know. I haven't tried selling that way before, but I've seen other people do it with success, so, you know, why not test it out? And I'll throw it up on my Etsy store anyway. But I was talking to Q about it, and, you know, she's like, oh, you know, did you put stuff on Etsy and blah, blah, just talking about where I sell my stuff. I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, I actually have a bunch of original art up on Etsy, and for those that don't know, I sell prints on Etsy and pins occasionally. Not all the time, once in a while some sell. Over the course of the year, maybe I'll sell 10, maybe 20 over the whole year, usually around Christmas. And I put a bunch of art up there, just like, you know, 10 or 20 random pieces that I had, and none of them have sold. Nobody's been interested, and they've been up there for a while. And I was telling her this, and I said, as a matter of fact, on my Instagram, I had done a picture of Ted Cordy's The Blue Beetle, and when I did it, somebody asked me if it was for sale or if I had it up for sale somewhere. And for some reason at the time, I wasn't thinking I could just sell it through Instagram and get a PayPal, which is what I should have done, but that's another story. So I said, well, right now I have prints on my Etsy store. I don't have original art, but I'll let you know. And they said, cool, let me know when this goes up for sale. So when I put the stuff on Etsy, that was one of the ones I particularly put up there. And I tagged the person and said, hey, I put it up there if you're still interested. They never bought it. They never responded. And I was telling her this, that like, yeah, Etsy isn't doing well for me for original art, even this piece that someone specifically said they wanted. The next this was at night. This was like 11 o'clock at night. The next morning when I woke up, somebody bought the Blue Beetle. And it wasn't the one who asked. It was some other random person. And it's just like, you know, and this is when I hear people talk about, like, conspiracy theory stuff, like, with their phones. Like, if you use an app that has a microphone and you talk about liking bananas, and then on my Facebook, a banana ad came up, it's obviously they're spying on me. While I wouldn't put it past people to do shady things, I don't think it's anything that explicit. I think it's coincidence, illustrated by the fact there's no way somebody used my phone to hear a conversation about buying a piece of art and then quickly went and bought that piece of art. It was just a crazy coincidence. That's fun because they bought my art. But anyway, I pulled it out so that I could send it, and this helps illustrate something else. else. With this, I used a new black marker, a chart pack marker, which I actually got to do caricatures, but I wanted to try it because I had done a bunch of ink sketches recently, and I was not happy when I had to do heavy blacks. So hopefully the camera could pick this up. If you look at the black on Ted Cord here, I filled it in with the brush pen, and I made it black, but there's just like always a little bit of variation and lines. But if you look at Venom, it's solid black. Now, if you look really close, you can see some minor artifacts, but you can't even see that in real life, really, because nobody looks that close. But even that, it's a solid black with some parts that are slightly darker versus an almost solid black with a lot of like gray and white showing through. So yeah, the new marker works really well. And I don't know how archival it is. I'm only selling these for 20 bucks each, so I'm not super concerned about it lasting forever, but you know, that's just a thing. Here's something interesting. I have been recycling old comic book bags and boards to put head sketches and other things in them. Like that. Keeps it a little bit protected. If I give it to someone at a show, it looks nice and displayed. And now I was going to use them to mail. And I was moving this Venom, and I had this stored in there. And if you could see, there is a yellow outline of exactly where the black is. So this mark, and now I was trying to figure out how it was, but I had this face down so the sun wouldn't fade it. And so the contact between this and this, it leached some of the pigment out. I don't know what that means long term, but what I know it means short term is I cannot put this against something else that's important. I'll have to have a piece of paper in between it or something. So that's slightly troubling, but I still like the result, so I'll see if I can work around it. Hey, here's a little hardcore.
This is something called snow ice. I know it looks like pulled pork or chicken with gravy, but it's caramel ice cream.
I didn't have big plans for work or for anything else. My only plan was to go see my friend, the Bon, to see Godzilla 2000 for socializing, for fun, but also because, as I said, I have an event coming up where they're screening that, and so I want to make a new print and at the very least be able to talk intelligently about the film that the event is honoring. And so we're supposed to go over, I'm supposed to go over. Q decided she wanted to go, but she wasn't quite ready. So I was like, all right, now I got an hour to kill or so. And I said, oh, there's one local shop that the owner was never there. I called, he's there. It's about a half hour, no, it's about a 15-minute ride each way. So it's a half hour, which gives me about an hour until I have to be back. So I'm running out to go there, talk to him. I called ahead, so he's there. And then on my way out, I realized I had to do cat litter, so did that, grabbed it, gonna throw that away, bring the box of comics, go to the comic store, get back, pick up Q, go to my friend's house, Godzilla 2000, hardcore. So yes, I've been filming and doing reviews and things that I needed to have prior commitments for Collection DX and things like that, trying to get everything done. There was a few videos I didn't get done, but I was waiting to get everything done before I started the 100 days. And then I was waiting to, you know, have a less busy time. And again, it all came back to me of, I'm busy, I have other commitments, I need to start issue 2. What am I waiting for? 100 days of making comics, baby. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. So this is day 0, and that means, I still have 100 days left.